What is up, beautiful people? So my camera is actually dead, so I'm on my phone right now, so I'm sorry if the quality of the video is different. I am just glad that I have a phone that will now record and not shut off after 30 seconds. But today's video, I want to talk about how I got to the place I am with my self-love journey and my confidence and self-esteem and those kind of things. I recently received an extremely nasty email from somebody basically bashing every aspect of my character, both mentally and physically. And it kind of just showed me that some people struggle with accepting who they are, and that's where her email came from, was a place of self-hate. She doesn't actually hate me. I mean, she might not like me for no apparent reason, considering she lives in Florida and I live in Texas. I've never met this person in my life. And so I kind of actually started feeling very bad for her. My heart started hurting for her because it comes from a place of a self-hate. There's something about me that she's either jealous of or wish that she could do or whatever, and it causes her to dislike me rather than to take it as a motivation to help her grow as a person. So I kind of just want to talk about how I got to where I'm at and what are things that I've done and changed about myself to get to where I'm at in this point of my life. And I know sometimes for some people it's just very hard to be able to look in the mirror and say I truly love myself, and that was something I struggled with most of my life growing up. It wasn't even till about 2015. That's whenever I started my whole fitness, self-love journey, whatever you want to call it. That's when all this started for me. So I just kind of want to share what I've learned, what I have accepted above myself, and different things like that. So first thing is I'm going to recommend this book to everybody, Master Your Mean Girl by Melissa, I don't know how to say that, Amrosini. I'm sorry if I have butchered that, but this book, I am not exaggerating, changed my life. It's very simple to read, it's bullet points. You have, let me see if I can find it. You have stuff you write down in the book and just different things like that. And this book was so amazing. It was very life-changing. And so this is one thing I will recommend to everybody, men, women, everyone. Women, read it with your kids, teach them stuff from it. It's a very powerful book, and it honestly changed my perspective about a lot of things. But how did I even get to the point of reading this book? Yes, I have bullet points as always, so that way I can make sure I tell y'all everything I want to tell y'all. But first, I was absolutely sick of who I was. I remember being up, my family lives up in Pennsylvania. I was up in Pennsylvania, and we were taking pictures as a family, and I just remember all I could think was how much I hated myself, both physically, mentally, emotionally. I hated everything I had became. I hated every single aspect of myself. And I was like, I'm done. I'm so done. I told my ex, my at the time boyfriend, I told him, I hate who I am. I'm so sick of feeling this way. Something needs to change. Okay, like this lighting, because this lighting needs to change. I was like, something has to change. I cannot continue to be who I am. So that was the first thing, was I had to acknowledge that I was not happy. I had to acknowledge, struggling guys, I had to acknowledge who I was as a person was not the kind of person I wanted to be. So then from there, I kind of had to figure out, well, who do I want to be? What is my purpose? What is my goal? Who is Jennilea? Who am I? And I didn't like the answers I gave myself. I was drinking a lot. I was very selfish. I was rude. I did not express any kind of love towards a lot of people. I was very closed off. I was very angry. And these are a lot of things that at first I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I would characterize myself as these things. But I had to acknowledge that in order to change it. And it took a lot of self-reflecting and a lot of looking back on my past and my current situations and my relationships with people and different things like that. And it kind of showed me who I was and what aspects of myself I needed to change. So from there, I started to begin my affirmations, which I know I've talked about these a lot, but honestly, guys, they are a game changer. They helped me in so many ways. And so that's whenever I started to do the affirmations of I am beautiful, I am kind, I am smart, I am patient, because whenever you tell yourself a certain thing, that's what's going to happen. I had a problem of I was always telling myself and other people, like, I'm an angry person. I have a lot of anger in me. And of course I was angry all the time. I found any reason to lash out that I could because I was always saying how angry of a person I was. Well, no crap, you're going to be angry all the time. If you're sitting there saying how angry you are, you're going to be angry. And so I kind of started to change my mindset on how I talked to myself, about myself, to other people, to me, about other people. I had to really change my internal dialogue a lot. And it was not easy. I'm not saying, oh, overnight I changed, I thought about this, and that was it. No, it took a lot of time to get to where I am now. I mean, it's now 2018. I started in 2015, and it's still something I struggle with daily. There's still times where I'll catch myself thinking like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. And then I have to tell myself, okay, no, you just made a bad choice, or no, you just have to work a little bit harder, or whatever it may be. So I had to really focus in on how I was talking to myself. And that was one thing that was very difficult at first, but the more I was aware of it, the easier it got. So every time I would tell myself, oh, I'm an angry person, I would have to stop and be like, no, I'm not an angry person. I just I struggle with my anger, but I'm going to be better at it. And slowly and surely I was able to change that, and now I am actually, most of my anger's been pretty gone. It's really cool to see because I used to be so angry all the time, but that's because I told myself I was, so therefore it was okay that I was angry. I thought it was perfectly fine because that's just who I was. Excuse me. And a lot of that anger and different things like that came from, I had to learn how to accept my past and stuff that had happened between, I know I've talked in another video about my mom, my relationship with my dad and my family, just things like that. I had to go back and learn to accept what has happened to me, things that I had done personally to others or to myself or whatever. I had to go back and learn to accept all of those moments in my life because they made me who I am. And I couldn't be angry about them. I can't hold them against people. I have to take them, I have to learn from them, and I have to figure out why I went through that in order to become who I am. So a lot of this, like I'm telling y'all, is a lot of self-reflection, a lot of looking back on my past, figuring out, like I said, why I went through certain situations. Like, okay, well, I could easily be like, oh, my mom left me and nobody loves me and therefore no one's ever gonna love me and I hate everybody, which I did. I did that for a while. And then finally I realized how miserable I was living like that. And so I was like, okay, well, what do I need to change as a person to make this situation better? And that was accepting the fact that my mom left, and it wasn't because of me, it was because of her. And it was things that she was doing that honestly, in the end, it was better that she was gone because it made me a stronger person, because there are certain people that could go through that and it could break them. And I know there's that quote that's, you've been assigned this mountain to show others that it can move. As cheesy as that is, it's honestly true. There's certain situations that other people might go through that I might not be able to handle, that it would probably break me, or, you know, whatever it is. And so learning to accept my past and who I was and who I am now and everything like that really helped me to see, okay, well, you know what? I can love that part about myself because I can grow and move on from it. And so kind of from there, this book, because it's amazing, it talks about learning to love in all situations. And that was something that I did not understand at first, because I was like, what? Like, she talks about loving the person that cuts you off in traffic and loving the person that screams at you at the grocery store, just doing everything from a place of love. And everyone's like, oh, that's so hippie-ish. But no, it's really true, because it changes your perspective, it changes your outlook. Doing things from love versus doing things out of fear or anger or anything like that. It really started to change who I was, because I started to notice, because she also says in this book, I couldn't find it. I searched for it, and honestly, I got a little bit annoyed because I didn't want to keep looking for it. But she says, you should be so full of love that it's overflowing. Your own cup should be so full that you would just have extra. Because without that, having that love, you can't give it to anybody else. You're just giving your own. I don't know if that makes sense. So like my coffee cup. Coffee. Let's say, like, okay, it's half full. Now, if this is my love, like, and I'm giving this to everybody, my cup is empty. My own cup is empty. And so therefore I have to make sure this cup is overflowing and I can give that overflow. So that was one thing that I really started working on, was coming from a place of love and learning to just love and embrace everything about my life and who I was as a person and my goals and my ambitions, because mine might be different from somebody else's, but it doesn't make it any less valid or respected or anything like that. My goals can be completely different from somebody else, but they make us who we are. And that was one thing that I really struggled with, because like I said, I did deal with anger and with a lot of hate. I did not like a lot of people. It wasn't because of them, it was because I didn't love myself. And therefore, I didn't have a way to love anybody else, which is why a lot of my relationships never worked. Not even like intimate relationships, but like my friends and my family. I've never been very relationship driven, and that was because I did not have any love to give anybody, no matter how much I thought I did. So that was the first thing I really, really, really worked super hard at. I know I said I worked hard at the affirmations, but this one was very difficult. Again, I had to start noticing my thought process and what I was saying to myself about others or about whatever situation. So like I said about the driving, let's say I'm driving down the highway and somebody cuts me off. Well, I would have to start, instead of being like, oh, F you for doing that, I can't believe that you just cut me off, blah, 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 blah. I would change my thought process, and I'd be like, you know what, maybe they're rushing to the hospital, or maybe they're gonna be sick, or maybe whatever it may be. I'm gonna let them get over, because you know what, I am in the fast lane and maybe I'm slowing them down. Oh my God, did I just take blame for something? And it's not that I hate myself for it, but it's true. I had to see outside the box. I had to learn to see other situations around me and realize it's not all about me, that I can love these people from a distance, never even meeting them, and I can respect their life. And I don't care if they're a bad person. I mean, I do in a way, but if I'm driving down the highway, it doesn't matter if they're a good or a bad person. Like, oh well, I'm just gonna move on with my life because it didn't hurt me, it didn't hurt anybody else. I'm going to love them and accept whatever the situation is. And you know what, like I said, maybe it's a bad situation, maybe they are rushing to the hospital, or maybe they are just a jerk, but at the end of the day, I can only control my own emotions and my reactions, and so my emotion and reaction is gonna come from a place of love and understanding. And that was one thing that honestly was the biggest takeaway I took from this book, was learning to come from a place of love. She talks about it a decent amount, coming from love over fear. So like she has little quotes and stuff. And so like one of them is, I believe that every single event in life happens in an opportunity to choose love over fear. And coming from fear, told you I had to do a lot of flipping just to find like anything I wanted to talk about. But coming from fear, she talks about like eating. So okay, love versus fear. She has like a chart. Here's one of them. A place of love is, I exercise because I love the way it makes me feel. And then the fear aspect of it is, if you're working out from a place of fear, is I exercise because I hate the size of my bum and thighs and because I'm desperate to fit into my jeans again. So right there, you can kind of see the different things. Is I'm doing this because I love it, because I enjoy it, versus a place of like fear, which is you're punishing yourself for being who you are. And that's just not a way to live, guys. Come on. Okay, a place of love. I eat because I honor my temple and want to give it the best quality nourishment I can. Okay, so you're eating from a place of love, not, so I'm going to eat the chicken and the vegetables because I'm getting nutrients that I need, not just not just proteins and stuff like that, but I'm getting the micronutrients that I need. I'm getting my fiber. I'm getting, my branched chain amino acids. I'm getting whatever I need from that food in order to let my body run optimally. And then in place of fear, I limit and restrict what I eat out of fear of getting fat. That right there is a fear-driven thought process. And so I know it's kind of a little bit different from what I said, like about the driving situation and stuff, but it just kind of goes to show that you can come from a place of love in all aspects of your life, not just how you treat other people, but how, like, putting stuff into your body. So like exercising, food, your relationship with money, your relationship with animals, your relationship with the earth, your relationship with your mental health, and just stuff like that. And the next thing was accepting my feelings and moving past them. So anytime I would feel sad or hurt, or whatever that may be, I had to learn how to accept that emotion. So let's say, oh, perfect, my best friend. So that's what this, hey, short little story time. This one, it says, Miles, goodbye and go with God. Back when I was 18, my best friend was shot and killed. He was robbed. He went to walk away and they shot him 3 times in the back. And at first, of course, I was furious. I wanted to hurt this guy. Because my friend was only 17. I mean, granted, I was only 18, but he was only a 17-year-old kid who didn't have any weapon on him, didn't even have a car. He got out of his friend's car, and I was so angry. And I remember just wanting to hurt this guy and wanting to cause him as much physical pain as he was causing all of us emotionally. And I let that anger hold on for a very long time, and I just really wanted to see something bad happen to this guy. And finally, I was like, you know what? I've been angry for so long, and it's done absolutely nothing. And so I finally had to learn to just let it go, and just, I felt my anger, and I had to move on from it. I had to accept that it had happened. I might not like it, but I had to accept that it had happened, and I had to keep moving on with my life. I couldn't hold on to this anger forever. Same kind of anger I had like towards my mom whenever she left whenever I was 14, you know, towards my dad whenever we had our problems back when I was in high school, and granted, a lot of it was my fault also. But like just things like that, I had to accept the emotions that I had felt and that was feeling, and I had to move on with them. I couldn't let them stay in me. I had to feel it, I had to accept it, and then I had to let it go. And I know that's kind of very vague, but that's honestly the best way I know how to explain it. I'm not a psychiatrist, I am sorry. But that was one thing that also helped, was learning how to feel the emotions. Because no, you're not always going to be this big, lovely ray of sunshine that just loves everybody with all of my heart, and I'm never angry. It's very hard to be that way. I mean, you're a human being. You're going to have emotions. Things are going to happen. You're going to get angry. You're going to be sad. You're going to be hurt. You're going to be jealous. You're going to be whatever. But learning to feel that emotion and then move on with it and see what you can grow out of it. So like all the anger I felt, well, you know what? It made me have a deeper love for the people that are in my life. And so, I mean, yes, I wish Miles was still here, but I learned a very valuable lesson from it. I learned to cherish who's here in my life. I learned to make sure to tell people I love them and things like that. Because one of the last things I ever said to him was how disappointed I was in the person he was becoming, because he was going down a very rocky path. And I just told him, like, look, I don't like the person you're being. And that was the last thing that I ever got to say to him. And so now I just learned to love a little bit deeper and to express my love a little bit more. And that comes from a place of being love and just having this overflowing amount of love within you. And so I know that was, but it took a long time, guys. Like I said, I started this in 2015. It's now 2018. It's been 3 years. So it's not like I just woke up one morning and I was different and loved myself and loved everybody else. You know, it took a lot of time. It took a lot of reflecting. It took a lot of realizing why I felt the way I did, what my past had done towards me, and what I needed to move on from my past or from what was going on currently. I had to change a lot about myself. And again, it's been 3 years, and it's been a journey that it's never ending. Every single day I wake up and I have to make the choice to be love and to come from a place of love. And not even just in this book, but another book, luckily I have it right here. Another book is Uninvited. I know I've talked about this one also. This one also talks about coming from a place of love. I haven't even looked in it, so I don't know where it would be. But it talks about that too. It talks about being love and coming from a place of love. I wish I could find it. Okay, live from the abundant place that you are love, and you won't find yourself begging others for scraps of love. I found it! That's one thing that it says a bunch of other things as well, but that, you know, things like that is just coming from a place of love and learning that you are the master of your destiny. You are able to create your life. You are able to be the person you want to be. No one can change that, no matter how much they want to try. Like I said at the beginning, I did receive that nasty email, and at first, yes, it crushed me. I was sitting right here, and my sister was sitting across from me, and I almost started crying, and I was just like, I can't believe this person is that mean. And then it took me a little bit, and I calmed down, and I was like, you know what? This person, I feel so bad for them. I honestly, my heart breaks for her. And if she watches this, girl, I am praying for you, and I hope things get better, because I remember being in that spot. I remember hating myself, and it was so hard to even get on Instagram, because I would see all these people and I would be so jealous of how they looked and this big glamorous life that they lived and all this other stuff. And it would infuriate me. It would make me like hate them. But like I said, it's because I hated myself. It's because I hated who I was. And it's because I wasn't happy in the place that I was in. And you know what? I did something about it. I changed who I was. I changed my life. I started going to the gym. I developed better relationships. I did all these different things to become a better person. And anyone can do it. It's not just, oh, look at me, you know what, that's it. No, it's anyone can do it. You can become a place of love, and it's hard, but I would have to tell myself every day, you are love, you are love, you are love, no matter what I was doing. And so let's say I would get angry, and I'd be like, I am love. I'm gonna take a few deep breaths. What would I do if I was in a situation of love right now? And it helped me with how I reacted to people, how I spoke to people, and things like that. So this video is getting really long. I'm going to cut it off here. It's been 20 minutes. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. I love you guys. Please pick up one of these books. They are amazing books. I absolutely love them. They did change my life a lot, but I love you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever. My Instagram and everything is down below. My email for coaching, everything is down below. I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the next video.